Okay, this is the haul from 2 weeks ago when I did 3 estate sales in 2 days. I never got to this one. There was just so much stuff, and the other ones I didn't have time. This estate sale was mostly tools. It was a dark, dank basement that was in the middle of a huge storm we were getting, and water was pouring into the place. It was a mess, but there was enough there to entice me to go in. And you can see what I managed to grab here. There's a lot of interesting stuff here. You know, it's not your ordinary stuff. This was an older house. A lot of these tools are very old. They go back well before the 1950s. Let's start at one end and work our way over, why don't we? Let's see. Now over here, we have some pipe wrenches. And there are a few interesting ones here. This is a mid-1920s master wrench. It's a Heller master wrench. It's an early style of pipe wrench. Thinking, you know, other than the Stillson style, you had a lot of different people making pipe wrenches. This was one of them. It's in really nice shape. Unknown why it is spray painted gold. This older fella had the house. He liked to paint stuff. And that'll come off just fine under the wheel. Even the Vaporous might take it off. And it's in very good shape. It's tight. It's not beat to hell. The teeth are nice. That's a nice piece. That's anywhere from $20 to $35 on eBay. Maybe more. I haven't really kept, you know, current on a lot of that stuff. Not like I have nothing to do but sit there. Well, I guess I do have nothing to do but sit there on eBay. Okay. This is the prize here. This is the original Stillson wrench. I mean, the original. This is the style that goes all the way back to the 1860s. This particular one would be from about around 1900 to 1910, somewhere in there. Just judging what I was able to find online with the logos and all of that. Walworth, the Walworth Company made these. Stillson worked for them. He was an engineer, worked for the company in Boston, and he designed this wrench. And this was the pipe wrench. Some online sources even say this was the most important patent of any tool in the 19th century. It was this, because this led to so many imitators. And you can see some here. Some of these are also Walworth tools. Some are Coe's patent pipe wrenches. Coe's was another patent. You know, this is a later Coe's with the steel handle. I don't know who made that one. Any number of different outfits might have made that. There's another Walworth Stillson in there. What's the big one? Let's see. We have... Ooh, that's heavy. Improved Walco. Yep, the Improved Walco wrench. By Walworth. There it is. This is a later one. This looks like it was never used. I mean, look at the teeth on that. That's really clean. And he didn't paint this one. It's in the original black paint. That was how they sent them out. You know, he didn't spray paint gold or red or anything like that on there. There's a couple of rigids in here, there, a little one somewhere. You know, interesting stuff. And I picked this stuff up really cheap. Otherwise, I wouldn't be buying it. Like I've said before, I bundle tools at these places, or anything I'm buying. Filled bags and boxes like that. And then I have a haystack of crap. And, you know, at the end, we get together and we work out a price. And it comes out very cheaply because they like it when you buy a lot of stuff. You're getting shit out of there. They don't want to have to deal with this stuff. I don't know what this is. It's a little watch case, jewel case, full of some taps and some Allen screws. Just, you know, interesting stuff. This was nice. This is for flare. This is a flaring tool, a nice one for, you know, doing brakes and stuff like that. Got to clean that up a little bit. It's missing the inserts, but any inserts will work with that. For 3/16 line, 5/16 line. Now, who made this? This was made by Parco. I think that's Parco. 400 flaring tool, Dayton, Ohio. You know, that was a nice little find there. I don't have anything that nice for flaring brake lines. Now I do. It's always little clamps and stuff like this around. This is nickel and dime stuff. That just happened to be in a toolbox full of stuff that I picked up. Adjustable wrenches, got quite a few of them. You know, we have Williams, we have Proto. The big one is a Proto. We have Craftsman. You know, and I forget, what's the other one? I think this is Crescent. Yeah, that one is Crescent. And all in good working shape, but rusty because the place was damp. But that cleans up. Evaporust or the wheel will clean that right up. All kinds of pliers. Here we got it's a Japanese punch. I'm sorry, chisel. A bunch of those mixed in there. This is a Danielson. This is, I can't remember, it's a J.R. Danielson Company, Jamestown, New York. That's back when we used to make things in New York. Instead of business fleeing the state, we had actual production here where they made things like this. This would have been competition for Klein. Danielson, apparently, eventually, the company became part of Proto, I believe, or was it Proto? No, Plum. Plum Tools that became Proto later on when they changed the name. This one would have been made around 1940, somewhere around 1940. Although the name goes back to the 20s, even before that. That one was made in 1940, and it was competition for this. This is a Klein. Put them side by side. Klein is one of the best-known manufacturers of pliers left in the country other than Channellock. They are going strong to this day. 1857 to 2023, they're still around. They're still making a version of these pliers. Probably would not with the stripper in there that I remember, but these are in good shape too. Their jaws are nice. Everything's good. It's not loose. It's got the logo on there. Strangely enough, no date code on this. I don't know why. I can just go by the logo on there. This is from the 1920s. I found it in a 1925 Klein catalog that was online. Same thing. I don't know the range they made it, but what I did find about the logo was this was probably 20s into the early 30s maybe, but you see how close they are. Let's turn that over. You see the Danielson and the Klein. You know, they were competition. There were other people making these too, not just these two manufacturers. And we had Channellock. You see those blue handles? You always know what they are. You know, that's not a cheap pair of pliers. That's Channellock. That's American made. It's top quality. It's very good. They still make. This isn't that old. Probably about 20 years old. They're still making this today. You can still get them. This is. Here we go. What do you see? Craftsman. That's a Craftsman pliers. Probably from the 1970s. Craftsman pliers. You know, you're not going to see that brand again. So if you find it, treasure it. You know. And here's another Craftsman. I have a couple of these in here. You know, little. I don't know if Vice Grip made these for Craftsman. I suspect not. Somebody did though, because like I said before, Craftsman didn't make anything. It's all made by somebody else for them. Not sure who made those pliers, but we'll figure it out when we got under the wheel. There's a lot of stuff like this. Needle nose in here, and you know, just strippers, and of course water pump pliers down there. All good stuff. I was just throwing stuff in a bag. You know, there was these big toolboxes there, and me and a friend of mine, we were just looting them, completely looting them. You know, before everybody else got in there, the rain was holding people up, so we got in there quickly and got stuff. This is another Klein tool. M. Klein Sons. And it's a little rusty, but that's okay. Evaporust will take care of that. Doesn't look like it was used much. It's not all buggered up, just a little rusty. The other one is not Klein. I don't know who made that one. All kinds of screwdrivers. We have, no, that's a striker, but everything here. I don't know if this is Klein or not. It kind of makes me, I think they are, but they're not marked, but they're nice. We have perfect handle screwdrivers. We have Irwins. We have all kinds of wood handle screwdrivers here. That'll clean up, you know, and there was even a Snap-on. This little pile here is Snap-on, by the way. You know, there's a Mac screwdriver in there. There's a lot of Craftsman in there. There's some nut drivers. You know, all kinds of stuff like that. Stanley, there's a lot of Stanley in there. There is even a North Brothers. There was a little, here it is. This little stubby here is actually, see if I can find it. Oh, I'm sorry, not North Brothers. Miller's Falls. That's Miller's Falls. Another name from the past that you're not going to see again. Bunch of cheap locks. They're not, you know, anything special. Some nice USA-made clamps over there. You never have too many clamps. I always pick up a few of those. Now this expandable bit here. Look what it says on there. Bell System. Now, that was another thing. Where are they? About these Klein side cutters. That's a pair of 8-inch cutters. They were made specifically for people in the telecommunications industry back then. That's telegraph and early telephone. That's why they're made specifically for them. So is this. This is Bell System. So I'm guessing somebody who lived at that house at one time worked for Ma Bell. And this is an Irwin. Number 2, made in the U.S. of A. I don't know if you can actually see that. But, yeah, that's an interesting piece right there. There are collectors out there who like to collect Ma Bell stuff. Usually, you find a pair of little nippers or a needle nose or something like that. You don't usually find stuff like this. It's a little harder to come by. Okay, that's it for the screwdrivers. Let's move on to the ratchets and attachments. Okay, this is a Mac through wrench. Why is it called a through wrench? Because you can put this down a stud right through it, right through the socket. See it? This is part of what should be a set. There was no other tools like it there. You know, I think you can get the whole set on eBay for like 80 bucks, 100 bucks. I've seen them as high as 200. A little rough, but that'll clean up. At least it's got one socket. Maybe I'll find the socket somewhere without the ratchet. Never know. Really nice and clean S&K half-inch drive. It's an older one. Probably 1970s. It's not 60s, because then it would say, what? S.K. Wayne for the most part. But it's still nice. We have some Wright in here. We have some, what is this? This is Williams. That's a Williams. Little breaker bar there. Williams T-handle. This is a Klein knife. It's actually made, they didn't make this. This was made in Sheffield, England, apparently. Or at least the blade was. They might have made the rest of it. You know, don't know if they still sell this or not. It's completely dull. So that's going to need sharpening up. It's a Klein tool. I like Klein tools. I use Klein tools. I buy Klein tools, and I got a ton of them. We have some, you know, extensions. These are Craftsman. That's S&K down there. Look at all of these ratchets. These are all Craftsman, you know, from probably 20 years ago. And be honest, there's a bug bothering me over here now. Go away, bug. Yeah. We have a little Craftsman breaker bar. We have a Craftsman 3/8 over here. You know, this is all 80s, 70s, 60s. Another Craftsman 3/8. This is a really nice New Britain. Look how shiny that is. I think it was never used. That's a really clean one. Nice fine tooth, too. These are New Britain made good tools. They made very good tools. Never be afraid to buy New Britain. Never be afraid. Really, all of the U.S. manufacturers pretty much did make decent tools. We didn't make crap over here. You know, let's put that over here. Although there were companies that specialized in making inexpensive tools, they weren't necessarily junk. Just inexpensive, maybe not as nicely finished or anything like that, because they were made for a different purpose. People that didn't use tools that much, but needed some little bit hanging around. This little bunch of Snap-on tools here, there wasn't much in there. I'm surprised finding it all. There's a big, heavy 3/4 drive socket, and this is, what is this? License reissue locks. I don't know what that is, but it doesn't tell me the size. Well, 3/4. It's 3/4. Duh, right there in front of me. That's a brake tool. We have some Snap-on feeler gauges, a little Snap-on socket, a little Snap-on wrench, and of course that nice screwdriver. What's the number on that? Is it a familiar number? SSD6. Yeah, I have the modern version of that somewhere. Lots and lots of little wrenches here. There's like every tool company's represented here. We have Thorsen, Herbrand, Bonnie, Williams, Craftsman. What else? A lot of Williams actually. Esco. There's an Esco wrench. Some of my very first tools were Esco tools. SK. Little Craftsman ignition wrenches. Par X. Literally, of course, the Snap-on, as I mentioned before. Mac. There's a Mac wrench right there. This guy had a little, I think he might have been doing flea markets and tag sales to get tools, just like I do. Maybe estate sales too. Because there's such a mix. Most people, they buy a tool kit and they tend to stick with one or two manufacturers. And that's what you'll find in their house. A lot of it's usually Craftsman. You know, the estate sales I hit. And every now and then you be at a car guy's house, you'll find a bunch of Snap-on or Matco or something like that. You don't usually find this wide array of different manufacturers for tools and different eras too. We're talking stuff from the the turn of the 19th century, 1900, all the way up, you know, to probably the 1980s here, and everything in between. So I'm sure he was probably doing pretty much the same thing I do. All kinds of sockets back here. These are all S&K. They're very early ones. Over here we have a bunch of Craftsman. That little bucket over there, I got that stainless steel tin at the same estate sale. That's all full of rusty Craftsman that's going to have to go to the Evaporust. That'll all clean up. You know, none of this is terminal. You're not killing any of these tools by the rust that's on them. This is cleanable. You can clean this up and have a nice tool when you're done. It takes a little time, a little effort, and a little willingness to do it. You know, we have, what's this? Napa. This is a Napa tool. This is actually in the East, when Napa tools were made by Eastco. It's missing the socket, the little, probably, what was that? About an 8mm Allen that was in there, but that's okay. I'll find one somewhere or do something else with it. Those two big bronze door handles were just in a toolbox that I picked up on site. Don't know what I'm going to do with those. Look, that's antique salvage. Really nice. They were on some very big commercial doors, like, you know, an old bank or something like that. Sure, they were very nice looking in their time. We got some chemicals here, a Coleman replacement globe. Yeah, this little glass teapot back there. Why is that there? Because a friend of mine put it in my stuff and then told me about it later. Yeah, okay, I'm sure it probably is okay. But he probably saw me buy the La Creuset, which is a very high-end, you know, teapot. Price those, and you'll see what I mean. It's missing the whistle, but I don't care. I don't use whistles on my teapots. That will work in my induction stove. La Creuset will work. You know, a lot of pots won't. That glass one won't. That one will. So that's why I wanted it. I spotted it, and I grabbed it. Didn't look like it had been used very much. The Coleman lantern. Yeah, it's old. That was given to me. He said, I just take it. You know, it's got two brand new mantles hanging in it. If I use nothing else out of that, it's got a glass and two brand new mantles. But I bet that works. Yeah, it's a little beat up, but these things never really die. When they malfunction, it's only a matter of cleaning them, and they're fine. Maybe you replace leather bellows in the little pump. They never really die unless you let them rust right through. Now, this is something interesting. Anybody have an idea what that is? That's a gimbal stove from a boat. That is a Bremer, it says it right there, a Bremer gimbal stove that's been converted to use a Swedish Optimus regular camp stove. They had a conversion they did on this. This originally, I think, would use something like Sterno or something like that. They put a Swedish camp stove on there. So this is actually a fairly expensive piece, because this required two purchases. It required you to buy the Swedish camp stove, which today they are highly collectible and they're not cheap at all. And then you had to buy the Bremer. I think these things are like $200 and $300 easily, and no one knew what the heck it was. This was handed to me by a buddy I was with there, and he says, "You like to melt lead?" I said, "I've done it in the past." "I think this is for melting lead. This is for you." I said, "Okay," and I just put it with my stuff to examine later. And when I did, I realized, this is kind of chintzy for melting lead. You know, it wouldn't be a very hot flame for that, and doesn't look like, how are you going to hang this off something? And that's ridiculous. Then, after a little research, I figured it out. It's a Bremer. This is what you put in sailboats and stuff like that. So as you're going in rough waves, then you'd be up like this, and the boat may sway, but your stove doesn't. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that. It's probably going to end up for sale. Don't know. I don't have a boat. I'm not planning to get a boat. Boats sink. I don't float very well. Bust out another 1,000. That's somebody else's thing, not mine. That is simply a power converter that you can hook to a battery, small one. I just tossed it in there just because, not a reason. Don't really need it. Just tossed it in there. Oh, I didn't show you this. Look at that. This is one of those 4-in-1 screwdrivers. That's Buck Brothers, back when they were still made in USA. That's nice, and it's high visibility handle too. And it's the handle style that I like. Not real big on those modern spongy handles. I like these ones because they clean off real well, and they tend, like the Snap-on ones of the same type, they tend not to absorb oil and crap and make your tools look like junk all the time. Let's see if I can get that out of there one-handed and show you. There it is. Ta-da! It's got the 4 bits. They flip, each bit flips around, give you a different size. So it's like 4 screwdrivers in one. Always nice to have those. Let's see, we already went over all that stuff. A lot of these big Williams wrenches. This is like a little tiny puller of some kind. I don't know what for. I guess you could pull maybe a steering wheel with that or something like that. Not a harmonic balancer puller. It's a little too lightweight for that. But you could probably pull a small, like, VW Bug steering wheel or something. I don't know. Something little. We got some, I don't know why this was in. This was actually in that toolbox down there. A bowstring. A brand new bowstring. 51 or 6170 for 58-inch length. I don't know. I don't know anything about bows. Bunch of DeWalt bits. We have 3 braces in this bunch. They're going to need some serious cleaning. They're all Stanley. And Stanley makes a good brace. You know, that's the old North Brothers brace. It's a good one. We have, you know, tap wrench. We have a couple of, what do you call it? Scissors. Another one of these plumbing tools for cleaning pipes. I always thought these were for car batteries. They're not. I was told they're for plumbing tools. Always seem to get a whole bunch of Teflon tape. There's another one down in the toolbox. This is for battery terminals. This is what you use for battery terminals. Although you can use this too. That's exactly what I use it for because I'm not a plumber. Yeah, a little bit set, missing a couple bits, but that's all right. Always go through drill bits. Chemicals, I mentioned that. We have a little Sears. This is a little plane, and it's actually Sears brand, made in USA for Sears. You don't see too much of that. Usually what happens is these things, you know, get worn and the paint wears off and the Sears is only painted on there. That just comes right off. You can barely make it out now. This is for a hatchet of some kind. It was in the toolbox also, of course. I always seem to pick up paintbrushes. No idea if that battery's going to work. It might. Some charcoal fluid, some lamp oil, some paint, garage door spray lubricant. You know, all kinds of interesting stuff mixed in here. And we have a vomiting cat. That's always nice. Let's get here to the toolbox. I'm going to sit down. Take the load off. Most of a Williams wrench set. Not all of it, unfortunately. He probably lost a few or just never had them all. A bunch of Williams wrenches. The super wrench, they call it. Couple, I don't know why, there's two 1932nd combination wrenches. A size no one uses anymore, but there it is, the super wrench. That's going to be 50s or 60s, I guess. You know, and they're in good shape. You know, they don't need much cleaning up at all. The toolbox just had some random, those sockets are all Taiwan stuff and whatever. It's just an assortment of copper pipe fittings. Some razor blades there for the box cutters. I can use those. Unknown chainsaw wrench here, not for my steel. More Teflon tape, some bulbs, some air fittings, bunch of hardware, a connector kit for the style I don't use. You know, most of this will just be you'll find a home somewhere else. You know, it's a lot of bunch of drill bits in there too, and some chisels. You know, nothing special chisels. Old bathtub faucet. What do you call it there? A couple of propane cylinders, miscellaneous chemicals and stuff like that. Nothing special there. Let's see. Did I pass anything over? You can see I got a lot of those little pipe wrenches too in this bunch. Let me see if I can. Let's see. Get that out of there. Show you a few of those. There's this. I don't know who made it yet, but I'll figure it out. This style is pretty old. This is another one that's going to be way back. I mean, wooden handled pipe wrenches to start with, that's going to be, you know, 1920s and down. Because wooden handles had a problem as they tended to break. People would put pipes on them to get more leverage. They'd shatter the handles, especially that one-piece wood handle on that early Stilson wrench. You never see those that nice. This is like nobody ever put a extra leverage on that. The wooden handle is still very nice. It has original paint still on it. You know, it's not all gouged out. You usually find these with nothing but a threaded rod running down there because they snap the handle off. So that's a real prize to find one that's still in one piece. Here is the typical Coase. This is the second version of the Coase pipe wrench with the 2 individual panels on a steel shank running down through them. That was a little better than the one-piece wooden handle on here, but still didn't do it, so they went to all metal eventually. all the pipe wrench manufacturers did that. Like, you know, especially the later Stilson wrench I showed over there. All metal. You don't have to worry about anymore, you know. Well, you do have to worry, because you can still bend a pipe wrench if you put a 10-foot pipe on it to get more leverage, but it's not as common as it would have been. And I wanted to show you that. I don't know if Proto manufactured this or if they had someone make it for them. Sometimes tool companies do that if they don't specialize in a particular, you know, type of tool. It does kind of look like a crescent in the size of the head and the contour of it. You know, I don't really know. It's a 12-inch Proto Professional. So it's not that old. Not if it says Proto Professional on it. But Proto Forged. Maybe it is. Maybe they did make it. Don't know. I haven't done any research on it. Don't know for sure. I know that's the kind of thing you just got to cruise around on the internet looking forever to find out. You know, there's all the sockets. I showed you those, right? Yeah, I did that. I don't think. I always leave something out. Always do. I don't know why, but it always seems to happen. But I think I pretty much got everything this time. But this was the haul. And like I said, it was one of those old houses with an old guy who was going to assisted living, and he was just liquidating his basement workshop. This was a pack rat's nest. And yes, there were some actual rats there too. And everything was down there. And because of that tremendous rainstorm we were having up here, I forget what tropical storm that was that finally reached us, there was water coming in everywhere. This basement was damp to begin with, but there was water flowing down the walls, just flowing, free flowing down the walls, like they broke a pipe or something. I'm like, damn. So we were kind of in a hurry and not really looking at what we're getting, just grabbing handfuls of tools and throwing them in those bags, tossing the bags by the door. And when there was a haystack of them, I only took that toolbox right away because it was actually full of Craftsman tools. A lot of those sockets were in there. And I took one look at that, and I'm not picking through this in the middle of this crap. So I just tossed the whole entire toolbox onto the pile. You know, I think I ended up paying like $90 for everything. And I'm going to get that back right there with that stove. The whole day is getting paid for by that stove. I can see that coming already. Whether I split it apart and sell them separately, or, you know, I sell it as one unit, we will see. And as for that lantern, that's going to come apart, and I'm going to check everything out, and I'm going to try it. Not right now, but eventually. I got some camp stoves I'm working on too. They did not come from, you know, this stuff. They're from somewhere else. But, okay, I think we pretty much covered it all. I think. Was there anything else I found here that I thought was really cool? I thought I'll put it here in the front. How about this? No, that's nothing special. No, I guess not. Nope, that does it. Okay, GoPro, stop recording.